X3, X3. All-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. ZF 8-speed, ZF 8-speed. Roughly 10 to 15 lakh rupees. 74.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom. 2026, 2013. This is the 2026 X330 M Sport Pro. And this is a 2013 BMW X3 20D which has lost 80% of its value. So is the new X3 worth 8 times the price of this thing over here? Only one way to find out. .2810mm wheelbase, 2865mm wheelbase, a 55mm jump in wheelbase, which is quite a lot, but the rear seat experience in this new X3 is nothing special. It's pretty much the same with the old one as well.
216mm ground clearance, 212mm ground clearance.
A 4mm change in ground clearance, which is not that noticeable, but somehow the new X3 still looks kind of lower than the older one. 550 liters of boot space with no electronic assist. 570 liters of boot space with electronic assist. A 20-liter addition in boot space, which is pretty good, but most of the space in the X3 has been robbed because of the new hybrid tech, which is right under here. This G45 X3 has put on roughly 300 kilos compared to the F25 X3. That is almost 2100 kilograms in weight, which is a lot of mass. But I'm happy to report that all of this mass hasn't affected the way this thing drives. The handling, the suspension is absolutely phenomenal in this new X3. This X3 weighs roughly around 1800 kilograms, which is the same weight as a G82 M4. So in comparison to the new G45 X3, this thing feels nimble and light on its feet. So the new X3 is not that big of a jump in terms of space. It's longer, wider and taller than the older X3, but all of that has been gone into accommodating modern safety regulations and the new hybrid tech as well. So even if it is a massive car, the space is not that much more. So if you still want space, the older X3 is still pretty big.
Modern cars are now being designed with sharper lines, tighter panel gaps and finishes that really play with the light, making your paint work very important when it comes to the overall finish. But in India, where stone chips, scratches, swirl marks and even bird droppings are a part of your daily drive, keeping that paint in fresh condition seems to be a little difficult. That's where something like PRISMAX PPF comes into play. It's a transparent protective layer that sits right on top of your paint, shielding it from UV damage, road debris and small impacts, making sure that your car's finish is factory fresh every single day. And honestly, it doesn't matter what car you drive. If you care about how your car looks over time, protection like this is what makes the real difference. Back to the video.
The new X330 gets the well-known B48 engine paired with hybrid tech, a ZF 8-speed gearbox and X-Drive all-wheel drive, making 255 horsepower and 400 Nm of torque. It also gets a boost mode, which basically means the battery dumps all of its power, the engine and transmission go into the most aggressive setting possible, and it gives you 10 seconds of balls-to-the-wall acceleration. But the old X3 is a bit of a mixed bag. You used to get a bunch of different variants in this old X3, but the most relevant comparison in today's test is the N20 powered 20i or 28i variants, which are notorious for having multiple electrical issues and engine related issues as well. While the power output of the N20 might be similar to the one of the B48, the B48 is quicker, more modern and more reliable. Exactly how fast? Well, BMW claims a 0-100 kph time of 6.3 seconds. Let's see if we can do it. So yes, the new X3 should be more fuel efficient than the older 20i variants, not compared to this diesel though. It should be quicker and more reliable as well. Although we will have to see how this hybrid tech stands the test of time. I think in terms of design, both look pretty ugly. Just like all modern BMWs, this G45 X3 created a whole lot of commotion for the way it looks. illuminated front kidney grille, halo sword type rear tail lights, and weird proportions that make it look like a fat hatchback. Yeah, not the prettiest looking thing out there. And there's nothing great to say about this F25 X3 as well. Even though it looks more like an SUV, it looks fat, outdated, and very unattractive. At least to me. And you really feel this car's age once you sit inside. No massive infotainment screen, no digital dashboard. This feels like the early 2010s. Moreover, you have real clickety AC controls. Thank God. But apart from that, this interior still does feel pretty old, but the build and quality of materials used in this interior is still top notch. No rattle, no squeaks, and you can't really say the same about that car over there. We all know that BMW changed the door card of this new X330, which has more leatherette than fabric. But that isn't the only issue. You have horrendous AC controls which are super difficult to use. You have this ambient lighting which a lot of people don't really like. I personally kind of like it. And you also get this cheap plastic on some of the controls which really feels cheap. But there are good things. The displays are super crisp. You still have this scroller wheel over here. You get big fat luxurious seats which have ventilation as well, and you have a massive panoramic sunroof which lets in a lot of light. Overall, the interior does have a few niggles here and there, but it is a pretty nice interior to be in if you can get over this ambient lighting. This old X3 to drive feels, well, old. The suspension is still fairly comfortable, soaks in a lot of the bumps, but when you sit in the new X3, you can feel that 10+ year of progression in suspension technology. To drive, this X3 is still great. This diesel 2-liter engine still pulls like a freight train, but the gearbox is not the quickest out there. You can feel the jerk in the shifts from time to time. You can feel a lot of body roll when you're sending the car, and overall this car is okay to drive. Nothing special as such, but this diesel engine is the reason why you should buy this car. The way this thing drives is very impressive for an SUV. The way BMW has set up this car feels more like a gigantic Golf R rather than a sporty X3. BMW has been able to manage this 2100 kilogram weight of the X3 very well, because when you drive it, this thing doesn't feel like 2.1 tons. And when you boot it, this car picks up pace surprisingly well. The ZF 8-speed gearbox is usually a very good all-round gearbox. Drive it in a car like the 330 Li, and once you're in manual mode, the gearbox is responsive and fairly fast. But in this X3, there is a noticeable delay in the shifts in manual mode. And a pretty big delay as well. You have to literally calculate your upshift a couple of hundred RPMs earlier than you're supposed to, or else you'll basically bang off the red line. And then comes these horrendous paddles on this car. They're cheap, they're plasticky, and they're not even good to click. The older paddles were 100 times better. I think BMW really needs to work on this. But honestly speaking, the new X3 is a step ahead of the older X3 as well. This new X3 feels much more nicer to drive with its handling, the way it puts down the power. Only the gearbox is the major letdown, but it is a very fun car to drive, which is surprising for me to say in an SUV. So is the price tag of this new G45 X3 justified? For me, it is, because it ticks all of the boxes that I want ticked. Stuff like a great engine, great suspension, comfort and added reliability and usability as well. While the old X3 still has its own charm, you can feel the age with this car. And in the current lineup of German cars that you can get in this price point, well, I would still choose the X3 over all of its other competitors. But if I had to choose an X3 throughout its lineage, the G01 X3 has to be the sweet spot with the right amount of tech, great SUV type of looks and great engine options as well. Let us know which X3 would you choose in the comments down below, this F25 or this G45. Comment down below, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.